technical department and agencies did not take this urgent concern seriously. However, the principal environmental inspector of the NEA was assaulted by a dog of the Chinese fish meal factory in Khartoum. This leaves us with no other option than to seek restoration through the shutdown of the fish meal factories and in the interest of our nation. We demand the release of our youths. The inaction of the government on our plight has degenerated to the current situation in our community. It was not only the killing of Jibril. You do not need to be behind a trigger for a whole to know you are killing. Thank you all for your kind attention. Bodo, is that in local language?
Yeah,
just
you can come here. See.
But not up.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Mo be kontona mil ma be ta jang. Nyimu be kuma balati ka kuma kanki duniya pour nyin kama ko mol salon. Mine be kering sanyan sate kono jang. Mine be sanyan kol bulo kono at this point in time. Bayri kulle be kering o kulle kede sanyan jang. Miyalon ko amam mo kumpa beri Gambia jang fokata Gambia bandala. Follow members of the press mbal be kontona altona konton senawala ntol min fana bi jang members of the high table and sanyan kol be kontona itol ni konton senawala batandila la ko min kata talati Jibril Cisse molom miyalon ko ay daji ko kendol soto daji ko saharingo molom miyalon ko ay hormonin buña soto katala balomati andon bankudin kendol fana mati Jibril ala saya akade sanyan kole nimisolati nikuya anim balafa Jibril ala saya sunta minna wolom nyinte ko Senegalais dingo wole tata suñarola Jibril na siñoya mimmuti baboti Jibril tata wole to ka wo protect anin ka kanandi pour min satinda ase tanka wo suñaro ma sibola ñin Sénégal nata Jibril so murola wole to wole kete saboti miyatina Jibril a fota niola Jibril ay musolatu anin dingo anin ayetu kolya bala kono bayri Jibril saynamu abala dunia kumasi kan pour nyen kamako kom be kamin hame dunia kono niwu ibenyen dunia sita wato la pour ka musota pour dimbaya o ala nata ke Jibril wo musu kilengo ni wo din kilengo ay wala tu jang milan ko aketa ni kuya bati anin balafati yo kabiri wo kol be keta kibarol be janjang kan dunia fanna bela dolbe kibarol genjandi kan kibarol miniyalon ko anin ko min keta anin akata nyaadila wo kibarol mantara finti kan dunia arahmano pour mol safa ha mimbe kering wo sulo kama wala atin nan to sanyang kolu fondin kelu nata sijam pour ka kol senandi mola miniyalon ko wolle be kering nyintembeng ko ngafo nyamin sanyang nyintembeng factory le bijang factory miniyalon ko ay kumandiro kenan bade mala dolle la miniyalon ko ka fielo ko fila tournel ñing fila tournel kulungol wolle nata e ka supply di ñing factory la e ke supply ñela yo ñing fila tournel kulungol la ñew mol miniyalon ko mo qualité sifa belle bije mi yalon ko ime bodo long ima long mu mollamit Sanyang sate nga min long wala nyinti ko Sanyang ko lafta luntango lale andon e ka luntango jiale e ka topoto bari nyine keta molati min yalon ko ila hadamaya ni la Kenya ni la kol ndala ngin society fangoti ama wo sifa tolerate ama accept fana nyin kamere nyin factory ko masa jang anyi fila tourner molol mil ko mandina jang sunya rol keta janne nyapin kangol keta janne isa fola yafo wo jamalle keta jang andon nyili be a report di to di authority so lale fembamboje fo altarake anata sabu jubril ne saya nyinna na bota wala nyin factory of na nata man toro ning bata sabu nyin satela fenda fago sun kango min ka bona factory nyin kono ayati na fango jang molbi kele ni dia soto no ifango la suwo kono hakelante fango ni rafta domoro fango la ka dumbunga la kono e ke fango sorom bunga kono a boto je fana musolle na ko mili bije ila west ni min ka bo factory kono e ka ba wodin kral milto ayati na musolle na ko fi fangolu ye kasara balle soto wolo kono je karam munta dindongol mi fana alon ko karam bongo min alon ko ibe badala ma fangol la ne factory le operation commence akatin na le karam bungol ka soronne dindongol ka se suwo kono fenda fo sun kangol min alon ko akabona new factory kono Sanyang kolbe ibe nyimba tala kono ibe nyi dengol kono safaro le ketale reportol safatale masa kundala bundati je Sanyang kol male lanjuro tandi damilto bare dankuru mangi so woka tandila ko system o ay Sanyang kol neglect le amma Sanyang kol plight anila concern ila hadama ya nyantol man samantara wol jibe kam fulanjango niya jibe tourism and agriculture tourism niya jibe aka fanko min si mansara aka fanko min si na economy la fennom mi alon ko asembo warata bak dun nientele Sanyang jibe Sanyang mudulati dami alon ko tiwabu lundangol momona da Gambia ibeke la fele yena yeni ji Sanyang sate ko no jam pour ka na bada isi fonso do noji woyatin na Sanyang fonding kele restaurant so do bada to jam mi alon ko yemo jamalata do ko laje ibe do ko laje ke fongo nafa na fonding ke do na harjati babu la jam biwol beti babu du ibe le dimban nafa kan Gambia janne wo muna fongo ya so do nyim bada lot bar biye ñi facture na ñim badato ayatin nale wo restaurant insa fo dal nak ibe buru katale fende fo woti wabo min kana nanje pour que fon sodo je wo sun kango wala woti wabo be bay ñim badato jam silal ñim fana be ñim bada ma fo wala ñi silal fana fo atina ñi sun kango noro mi nga ba ñi facture ko ayatin na wala fana yo anata kolya basa wala fana la jang ayatina sayenten dole fonse de tibabu dul yo ni ajibe do ko wala karola Sanyang fondin ke mi do ko soro nyim badala asiata baki factory o ay momenta nyin sate ko no do ko wala e ke min garfa jo Sanyang dimo amanta mi mo lul yajibe nyin restaurant combination fondin ke mi ka balwo nyin dingra nyin to yewal portugeda atambe de kemelulo fongalal nyin factory la taro nyin badato ayatina wo fondin kelu wol be fota wo do ko lele binyin tambo be sirine e mantara wo takan e badato ni se do ko kino je pour que le mun fongo soto noje ñin tiñaram bebe ke kan jannatin aya wo ñin factory be maña min be ke kan ñim badato wo be mutaman serolte katande ko ntole dandangol memo environment ne dandangol sarto nin luwal be laari ñamin ye wol be tiñanne baro wo be ñawoña ñin factory o abe tamakan ne ko e laftala ñamin man samang Sanyang lamoy min satina Sanyang la diminama ñimde batadamu mindi min satina factory ka masibo min sinan jang pour waye dang man say ñaka soke wala Sanyang tel be ñinte mo min do don kabirin 2017 ñin kelo ko master world kaje ko ñin factory o abe sorono no ñami mboto to nata for 2018 ata wo ku kinen wolle be tamaka factory ñin doje han kabi mansamang Sanyang email ko wala kalamuta soko ni se danko ko ngafo ñamin factory ol ila no fengol adiyate dawoda e ka fay wolot watilla tambita jang kabiri makam kumata e kata ela nyinno fengol ela nyi westpolo kol e kata fay ko tule ya kumasi ye sunkan wulta ko tu bari mbenga ala ko aka fay ko tu ma fango minna fonka fo minna ko the big mans masakunda ala kunu kumani mo ko tangol wala sabatiri wo ma fangol lokon killing wuro kuma ta ko tu wo ma fangole ko sunkan ya akuntu wo do ya sorong lokon killing wo etelma wo sunkan wo ni wo sunkan ni e matano soko ndar Sanyang mini alon ko ba ko no tilijel fa karjel oto mili be ko tu wol men fesa Sanyang ni be mo banku dingolati oto mba tandila mansala ko wo is an unfair treatment to the people of Sanyankas. Musol aning funding kel aning nanyo mili bijang aning Gambian kol janne nyi Sanyang incident so be kela faraba nyi nyon si fara kata je fayatin na mfongala siti fani tiolu ye dinding o funding ke saban niyo bota je ibulo kono je dolu baramata femma sabu fo na nyin dandangolu mi yalon ko nyin kinya singol min be keri wo ma fangol mbota woto gunjur fana anyon sifa kada jele mi yalon ko funding ke lulu e mutata jele because of ila protest e min tandi with regards to this fish, Golden Lake fish mill factory. Ngaboto Sanyang Jibrin fanala bango Sanyang jang wo fana mutaman serolati katandi dunia rahmano belako new factory o ane mining activities o mimbe ke kan Sanyang jang moluman la fala ye wosidali ye kul bekele kesamambo jabato andung ni atara ko na nyaton ko karanda farabala e karanda gunjurla o Sanyang nyimma sibo mangen na hapun na Sanyang ni atar ko ibela moy kanji adu nyama e masakunna ibe marli mollel wo molla wo shida ni la complainol nanda kala fenati mi ala ko ni afutu motuma ni de imo nyaton ko kendoti e nanda kala may walla wo shidalal ani la wo complainol e saade ko sinin sa man kana do nyimmanto sifal kon ni atara ko wo mantoro ni wo wo shidal ni atara ko ila moyta nun sim fatata nun ton nun Jibril saya atakela nun anan ni factory taroja ni amanke nun je ton nun bi nin Jibril metaral shirin nyimbe ngoto jan kabir wo kol beketa Jibril miya fa mankuma moy wala ko right now, as we are speaking to you people, o science and media maka nyamintan Sanyang funding ke muang anin fula wala be bankola kasubunda bato miya lonko ibe mutarinje oto nyinga de Sanyang kole ni ku yatile akete ye sigu surotile ni ku yati balafa kaje ko na funding kel miya lonko ibe mutarin mile to kuma man fa wala kuoto min sabu da Jibril sayala ma wotara dulalon nyintam benteng amma sambal luwa nyati len wala andung nuwo bodde je fana Sanyang sa de ko na jam fonnin ke je malle be yemandi yemanding because of ibe silarin ikane arrest wala ikane mut. So right now then nidala sate kono abe kense yarin funding kellal dolla alfal mang itaradulal fangollo because of fear of arrest and whatsoever. So mbenyinta mo den Sanyang as a community delivering constant fear lakon. Imantara living media kono, imantara living enjoyment kono, and will be mele nyanto leti kajako banko dungol la meti itara wo kono. Kumo kumfadula mba nakana faila masakunnae civil society international community kaje ko ya wuli ya simfata sajan kolla nyin ko to min satina nyin ko min beke daten sa sino nyaade le in a peaceful dialogue ngaje ko nga bebula no miran kilin kono nga kacha badi yakam hormoni bunya kan kaje ko tollamu bakilin fa kilin ngoltin tollamu gambe di ngoltin min satina no fonnin ke min alam ke be muto kono ise bulano nyaade le ni yesi nganyim kol be bam mbe kumandiro ke minister of fisheries la environment and other department min alam ko be da be nyin kol la kono pour kaje ko nyin kolu nsabe fano nyaade le badiya kono hormonin bunya anin kacha kono ase banno nyami so o kan mbe mobe tentula mobe jayla bake ala baraka
Do you have anything to add?
I'm sorry about just adding more to the talking, but basically there is a major issue that a lot of people might not be aware of, which is why the smell from the factory is so bad and why the smell when they dumped the waste at Kotu was so bad. It's basically what happens is that with the fish meal factories, they are always told that they must operate in an area that is very far from built-up areas. This factory is within a short distance of houses where people are, and schools, where people are expected to survive this nasty smells. Now, once you have a chance, if you have a look, the gas that is causing that bad smell is actually hydrogen sulfide, which is a highly toxic gas, and that once it enters the premises, it is very difficult to get rid of it. Hydrogen sulfide gas has been tested on lab animals, and some tests where they did it, 10 out of 10 of the animals died. It caused birth defects in some of the animals, and it is irritant to the lung systems. Now, when people are complaining about the smell and so on, it is, yes, it is nasty to have the smell. But when the government officials and officials that should know that hydrogen sulfide is being released into communities, where you get people actually in Birkama complaining about the smell. What about those people that are 500 meters from the factory? Whenever you see videos of people at the beach, you'll see a lot of young children there. What is being done to their health? We do not have the hospital facilities to really cope with that bad health damage that is being done to the people. We've got added to that, we've got the sand mining where they're thundering down the road. You've got a lot of dust being raised up in the air. That is going to cause lung damage in the long run. People are just begging for the plight of the village, the plight of the individuals, and to stop playing politics with the lives of the people. Let's just try and get something done that is going to be beneficial to the Gambia and it is going to be beneficial to the village. Like my friend said, Gambian tourism development had generated 20% of the GDP of the Gambia. Apart from that, virtually every village in this area, you find that the schools have been built by tourists. The hospitals have been built by tourists. Why? Because when in the 70s, when tourism was being created, they allowed Sanyang to be just an isolated place where people will come in a Land Rover. As they were going through the villages, they saw how poor these villages are. They actually helped. Now, we are risking a lot of the money that the government is getting from tourism, not even looking at it as a local thing. You're looking at all the development that is happening to all these villages where it was just charity, people that came and decided to be charitable and decided to build schools and build hospitals, etc. Who's going to build those facilities when the tourists stop coming? We look at the Gambian tourism right now, we are looking at possibly 100 and something thousand people. But if you look at the funds that the government calculates as being remittances, a lot of that remittances are from friends of Gambians that are abroad that are sending money to help do things here. So we are damaging a lot of these type of facilities, functions that are helping us. So the villagers, I think, are just saying, look, enough. When the smell is not good enough for the people living in Kotu, honestly, it's not good enough for us. Because he was generous, he said 1 week. I think it was 2 days. First day they poured it, second day they went, and the third day told them not to go back there again. Now, your fellow citizens are suffering. If it is bad to the point that you turn around and say, get it out of here, what type of person will be comfortable to sit at home and just ignore their fellow citizens and expect them to live with that smell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day of the year? That is not done. That is not human. That is not Muslim. Where are they going to take most of this food that they take out of mouths of Muslims? To feed pigs and other animals. Who here eats a pig? When there's a shortage of food, who's going to feed the people? That's one source of protein that most of the villagers get, is the fish that they're eating. When that is allowed to be packed into containers and taken out of the country, it's a great loss, and it is going to be an issue that we have to cope with. Yeah, well, that is basically going to be it. You're going to get malnutrition situations occurring. But I have spoken enough, I think, on this matter. But if anybody wants further information about the hydrogen sulfide and other damages that can be done by these gases, and why in other countries they've been told to move far away, and why in Abene, where they were in Casamas, where they were operating, they all of a sudden stopped. It's all because of the fact that people have gotten enough of risking their own lives to benefit a foreign company. Finally, the Chinese ambassador did the people of Sanyang a great wrong by saying that it is a Chinese company that was being prevented from opening. Yes, the specialists that are working there are Chinese, but the company is technically owned by a Mauritanian. Or are they telling us that a fraud was committed on the Gambia government by registering the company as being owned by the Mauritanian when in fact it was owned by the Chinese? Now, these are all things that should be looked at. These are things that have to be dealt with. You had issues where there was press releases of $8 million was supposed to be taken away from a safe. Now, I do understand some people have never seen $100,000, much rather a million, much rather 8 million. $8 million in $100 notes weighs 3,000 kilograms. You'll need a truck to move that thing out of a factory. What type of mentality is it that they just to do that simple check, they cannot do it? That if we call the central bank and said $8 million is how big a safe do you need for that, they'll know that it cannot fit in the safe. You turn on and they said 5,200 fishing nets were burnt. Most fishing boats that I know of have 2 nets. One, when it's being repaired, they use the other one. At this rate, I think there's maybe about 50 fishing boats in Sanyang. They're talking about 100 nets per boat. Let's use our intelligence. Yes, something happened, and it happened badly. It badly affected everybody that was concerned. The death could have been prevented because the Faraba commission that was held did actually warn that this type of situation can happen in Sanyang, Gunjur, Katong, etc. That report had been ignored at the peril of everybody. I've made warnings about putting the tourists that are attending the beaches at risk, because all these chemicals and produce that is coming from the factory enters the sea, and these people are supposed to be swimming there. I did warn that if a tourist does die on the Gambian beaches because of this factory, you can kiss goodbye to the tourism industry. Because of what Mr. Cisse did, technically one can say he sacrificed his life for the country. Because if that European person died on that incident, you can imagine what would have happened to the Gambia. It's a Gambian life that was lost. But just imagine what would have happened if that European was attacked and killed because of what had happened. Her life or his life is not greater than any of our lives. So we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to start looking at things seriously. Just because it's far away from our home, far away from our children, far away from our parents. I think that's why God sent us COVID, just to remind us that we have to look after each other. If everybody decides, I'm going to do what I want, we all die. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So if you have any questions, I think those are the statements that we want to make. Okay.
I'm thinking of basically that there's a possibility of taking legal action against the factory, because my house is affected badly. I had already started legal process anyway, because what happens is that under the laws, you cannot be burning substances in your premises that then disturbs your neighbors. If you started burning tires or things on your premises on a regular basis, the NEA will come and tell you to stop. If you persist, you will be taken to court. Now, I do appreciate that the government has given these people a license. Some of it is licenses that we were not totally aware of, and the government wasn't totally aware of when they started operating. But they did not give them a license to enter my property and trespass upon it. Basically, that is one of the options that we have to look at, apart from taking the factory to court. And if anybody is found wanting, then we will want compensation, because we've had enough as far as residents are concerned. Shall I? Yeah. Yeah. Shall I? Basically, the villagers have been holding consultations with every single ministry you can think of. What's the outcome is do not bother us. Do not bother us, basically. You can call it at that. Because if I come and tell you that something is creating a bad smell that is affecting my livelihood, that is likely to make people sick, we were being told that the water that's being released from the factory is drinking water quality. Yes. I swear to God, any of those people repeat that in front of me, I will give them a liter of this thing free of charge. I will deliver it to their house. But the problem is, if I deliver it to their house, I'll get arrested because the smell is going to be that bad. Or they will arrest me for trying to poison the person. So what do they think? That they're dealing with a bunch of yokels? We've worked hard for our livelihoods. Some of us, well, for me personally, I was out of this country since 1971. I came back because the government, not this current government, the previous government said for Gambians to come and help develop the country. Whatever happened, we were ready to stand. This government, when the last government refused to leave, I was ready to sacrifice my life to make sure that that did not happen, that we did get the change that we all fought for. But to be ignored to that extent, it hurts. It hurts no matter who it is. When you are going there quietly, going from ministry to ministry to ministry, you're going to the governor's office and telling them, the commission was held, the commission told them that what is happening is not right. People have got a right to have enjoy their properties, to enjoy their life. But when it's being ignored, it's just stoking issues. When you get people in the evenings going, as an aftermath of what had happened, some people were walking in the evenings, and then there's a big rush of vehicles coming, and people start running. That's how they arrested 50 odd people. Any of you will run when you see everybody else running. So the slowest person gets caught. now you get taken to mild. You're likely to be beaten up or you're likely to get into difficulties. We have a great respect for our leadership. We have great respect for the police. We have respect for the society as a whole. But the society as a whole as well has a burden to make sure that they look after us, to make sure that when things occur and people complain, they don't just turn a blind eye, because all that does is stoke further difficulties at a later stage. Commissions have been held, commissions have made reports. It's better to take those commission reports into account and to make sure that things are handled. Because, like I said, you've got issues that I believe the factory in Gunjur arbitrarily started extending their factory in contravention to the environment impact assessment that was done by the NEA. Instead of just turning around and saying, let's stop these things, you'll probably hear that they've started operating again. What signal does that send to the villages? When you hear that something is going wrong, people are ignoring it. We've had people working at the beach bars that have been suffering from asthma. The asthma was under control. All of a sudden, this guy turns up at work, he is badly ill. He goes home, comes back again. Within a short time, he's died. That guy's family is now left without the breadwinner. At night? Basically, like I said, a vehicle will come at high speed. People, there will be large amount of noise occurring, and people will run helter-skelter. Yeah, that's during the night. Virtually all the arrests I've been aware of have been during the night. And we had a meeting with some of the elders from the Combos, where I had said that some of these things, it is not nice to say, but it sounds very much like somebody's trying to stoke problems. We are not actually in a stable situation. If we were, we would not be needing the ECOWAS troops here. And when something like that is prevalent in the country, where you're having to have technically peacekeepers, that means that you're fearful of something occurring from outside. And to have people stirring up trouble during the night, anything could happen. And what would have occurred then if there was escalation? It is one of those things that we've got to have people that think of what likely consequences are. Because until the ECOWAS troops are out of this country, I don't feel that confident that we can turn on and allow certain things to occur. It was not correct for it to occur before we needed the ECOWAS troops, much less now. It is one of those things that we are risking a hell of a lot.
So what's going to be your final word, or what's going to be your advice to the government? Because we have seen the Farah incident that someone died there, almost 3 people died at the Farah incident. Sanyang as well. So what's going to be your advice to the government to at least consider the people who have in such situations?
Well, like you said, it's to consider the people, consider the villagers, consider the situation, and consider that there's an election coming. I think people are angry enough that this time, instead of sitting at home, people are going to be registering and they're going to be ready to vote. I have a feeling that the turnout at this coming election is going to be large, and it is incumbent of all politicians, from the highest to the lowest, to make sure that they do not just cast a blind eye. Because I don't know if you are aware that basically 50% of the Gambian population lives in the Combos. Now, if 50% of the Gambian population are not pleased with the way things are being done, and they decide that they're going to get up and vote, we saw what happened in America. Trump thought he was going to win. But it is one of those things that we don't want to play politics with this. We want to be just heard and to make sure that we are looked after. Or where the waste is normally dumped, where the waste for the whole country is dumped, let them take the waste from here and dump it there. If it is not suitable for the waste dumping ground, then it is not suitable for our backyard. Because one of the things that we used to say in England, NIMBYs, not in my backyard. It's not good enough for the backyards of those people in Kotu. it definitely ain't good enough for the people here because they cannot afford the medical treatment that a lot of our officials can. Because for me, I can jump on a plane and go and get medical treatment outside. But the majority of the people, what happens? Oh, this person's died. This person's died. What's killed them? We do not know. That's not fair.
Could you speak up a bit, please? I'd like to hear you.
Okay. I said according to the press statement that has been read here, we learned that 32 of the were arrested. So we want to know what are some of the things that you will do to them that. Apart from this press conference, what is your next step?
Yeah, thank you very much for that important question. At this point in time, we cannot do anything since the matter is before the High Court. So yesterday was the first sitting, and the adjournment was made on the 15th of April. So at this point in time, we cannot do anything unless and until we wait what will be the outcome of on the 15th sittings at the High Court. Thank you.
Sorry.
Then someone said these 22 people were arrested because they were coming from what it's obviously they cannot do something and they're arresting them without knowing if they are involved or not. Is there anything behind that like behind the
Yeah, obviously, that's what we suspected, that somebody within our community is the one working with the security men and women that is identifying these people. That's what we suspected. But as we go along, one day or the other, the person who is behind the bar doing these evil acts, one day or the other will be known to the community. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I want to attach something to that point. They even arrest some of the youths which are not from. They even arrest some of the youths which are not from Sanyang. Like they say, as the way they arrest the people rapidly, they just come, everyone running. So whoever they caught. Okay. I just wanted to add something on top of that. They even arrest some of the youths which are not from Sanyang. Like they say, the way they come to arrest, the van will come, just like that. Whoever run, they don't know. Either you are part of it. Some of them, they are strangers. Some of them, they just come to restaurants and they are sitting on the hold. They fall under arrest. So that part bothers us a lot. Because when you come to Sanyang and you come to arrest the youth of Sanyang, it's involved, then obviously you should not arrest the people who are not part of it. Definitely, that's the point I wanted to add. Is there any question for that?
You go ahead, close it.
You are the elderly one.
Thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank you for your microphone. We would like to thank you for attending, especially at short notice. And we do look forward to cooperating as far as a lot of the issues in relation to what is happening and what we are hoping will happen. But we pray that it's not going to be too long before the people that have been remanded at Mile 2 are released in one way or the other, or have a day in court. Because right now we have reports that one of the people that was in the cells with them is confirmed with COVID. And one of the things that the Human Rights Commission had actually said was that for everyone that is being taken to mile 2, for a test to be done, and if you've got COVID, you were not to be taken into the population of the prison. Now, these people have been remanded into prison, and we're just praying to God that the infection has just been caught, because the person that has been infected has luckily been taken out of the system and is in isolation at the moment. But whether it's too late that we're going to get a massive infection at mile 2, all we can do is just pray to God that it doesn't get that far. And we pray to God that He does open the eyes and the hearts of our fellow citizens to be kind and to be gentle and to be understanding as to our sufferings. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so like you said, but thank you, and then what?
That's fine.
Yeah.
We can have maybe a few side interviews and we are done.
Yeah.
That's it.
So thank you so much for accepting our interview, and then if you don't please, if you don't mind, you can have several side interviews with some of our colleagues here. Then we are highly available. Thank you so much.
Thank you.